This session we'll look at just citing John chapter 10, how he came to give life and to give it more abundantly. In our first session, we talked about the resurrection. And the second session, we're going to talk about a compelling hope and the issue of the meaning of life. So the first session was more about historical evidences for the resurrection. In this case, we'll be talking about kind of the issue of axiology, which is the question of values, that how do we know that life has value? How do we know that it has significance, for example? So kind of looking at it a little bit more philosophically. But there is a book of the Bible that actually focuses upon this question in many ways. That's the Old Testament book of Ecclesiastes. And so we'll be looking at some text from that text as well. So to kind of review where we are, we looked at a living hope, the resurrection of Christ. Now we're at a compelling hope and the question of the meaning of life. So Ephesians chapter 2, verse 22, in the context, is talking about Jews and Gentiles getting together in the new body, the new man, which is the church, and how those who were Gentiles at that time, prior to their faith in Christ, were aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without God in the world. So in context, is talking about Gentiles in particular, who prior to the coming of Christ and then faith in him and being united with him into a new body, which is the church, that they were without hope and without God in the world. But in one sense, this is true of all unbelievers. Without God, and therefore without hope in the world, objectively, they are without hope in the world. Even we ourselves, prior to coming to faith in Christ, without God and having no hope in the world. And that brings up the question of the meaning of life and the significance of life and purpose to life and the value of life. And the word value is used in various ways when it comes to